Patience wasn't always one of my strengths. I've always been the kind of woman that if I saw something that needed to be done, I did it. If I thought something needed attention, I gave it attention. If I believed in something, I poured myself into it completely. For a long time, I thought that was one of my greatest strengths. Looking back at 67 years old, I can also see that sometimes it became one of my greatest struggles. And one of the hardest lessons I learned in my marriage was this. Sometimes the burdens that exhaust us aren't the ones we were asked to carry. They're the ones we quietly picked up ourselves. As I'm getting Sunday dinner together today, I want to share a season of my life that taught me that lesson the hard way. Many years ago, my husband Jake came to me with a dream. He wanted us to open a daycare. We weren't playing with extra money. We invested our life savings into that business. I believed in the dream. I believed in him. So I left my state job and stepped into helping oversee the daycare. That was the agreement. Nobody demanded that I be. But because we had invested everything into that business, I felt responsible for everything. I wanted to make sure it succeeded. I wanted to make sure things were done correctly. I wanted to protect. If something needed attention, I handled it. If something wasn't right, I stepped in. If there was a problem, I took ownership of it. At first, it felt responsible. At first, it felt like commitment. At first, it felt like I was doing what needed to be done. But years passed, and what I didn't realize was that I had slowly become the person carrying far more than I was ever asked to carry. The problem wasn't the workload. The problem was what carrying that burden was doing to my heart. Over time, I became disappointed. I felt unheard at times. I felt unprotected at times. I felt like my opinions didn't always carry the weight I thought they should. And because I was carrying so much emotionally, mentally, and physically, those disappointments started settling deep inside of me. What I didn't understand then was that disappointment doesn't stay in one area of your life. It affects your peace. It affects your joy. You see people. It affects how you see yourself. And if you're not careful, it starts affecting your health habits too. For me, food became comfort. Years of carrying stress, pressure, disappointment, and responsibility eventually showed up in places I couldn't ignore. Looking back, I can see that I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have been. Now, I want to be very careful here. This isn't a video about blaming my husband, because the truth is, Jake didn't ask me to carry everything. He asked me to oversee the daycare. I turned that into carrying the weight of the world. There's a difference. And that's the lesson. Sometimes strong women see a need and feel it. Sometimes we take ownership because we care. Sometimes we step in because we love our families. But if we're not careful, we can pick up so much that we don't know how to put it down. Then one day, we're exhausted, overwhelmed, disappointed, and wondering why nobody is helping us carry a burden they never realized we were carrying. At 67 years old, I understand something now that I didn't understand then. Just because you can carry something doesn't mean you're supposed to carry it. Capability and responsibility are not always the same thing. Being able to do something doesn't automatically make it your assignment. Not every responsibility belongs to me. Not everything will fall apart if I step back. If you're a wife, ask yourself a simple question. Did God assign this to me? Did my family actually ask me to carry this? Or did I quietly pick it up because I care, because I'm capable, or because I'm afraid of what might happen if I don't? Because sometimes the heaviest burdens in marriage are the ones we volunteer to carry. And if we're not careful, those burdens can slowly. This is what happened when I finally started taking care of myself again.